Hello, a very good morning to all of you. So up till now we have completed the initial phase of ancient history. Okay, how India looked, how Indian subcontinent was categorized into different aspects, how the growth of civilization took place in the form of polity, in the form of economy, and in the form of society also. Right now, today we are focusing upon the post-Mauryan period. Now, this post-Mauryan period is in itself a very comprehensive period. Now, many of the historians, if you will find in the higher references, will term it as a dark age. Now, there are n number of reasons why it is dark age. Some of the linkings of this dark age can be found out in the previous session regarding the Mauryan period, which we have taken in the second part. Now, in that lecture, I have told you how did the economical situation got degraded after the Ashokan demise. Okay, now let us first categorize this post-Mauryan period into three classification. But before that, let us again revisit the timeline which we do every time when we start our discussion. Okay, so at the initial phase, we have seen the Stone Age period of ancient India, where the Stone Age period was categorized into Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic. After that, we have seen Indus Valley civilization. After Indus Valley civilization, we have seen Vedic age. Okay, and after that we have seen the emergence of Mahajanapadas or the later Vedic period. And this Mahajanapadas, we have seen that among this Mahajanapadas, 4 major states came into power or came into as a major powers, and in between that the Magadha Empire rose to be the strongest empire of the time. Okay, so 4 states. I would suggest please revisit the locations and the states of 16 Mahajanapadas. What were their essential features? What were their geographical locations? Which rivers were passed through it? Okay, what were their socio-cultural evidences during that time? Now, we have discussed each and every resource and literature which we got through this period. Okay, now after that we have also studied how Magadha or why Magadha Empire only became the strongest empire among all the 16 Mahajanapadas. Now we have seen Magadha Empire constituted of different dynasties. Haranyaka dynasty, Shishunag dynasty, Nanda dynasty, and after that one of the most significant dynasty, that is the Mauryan dynasty. Now, we have seen what were the significance of the Haranyaka dynasty, how the rulers were entrepreneur rulers or why they were called as entrepreneur rulers. After that, we have also seen how Nanda dynasty perished the Shishunaga dynasty and acquired the throne. Okay, and after that, we have seen the Mauryan dynasty, which constitutes the zenith period of the Magadha Empire. Okay, now after this Magadha Empire, we are going to see or we are going to have an overview from 600 BCE. Now let's suppose this is 0 and here it is 300 CE. Okay, so post-Mauryan period would be constituting of this 6 centuries, that is 6 to 7 centuries, that is from 600 BC to 300 BCE. Now, in some of the last lecture, I have also talked about some of the evidence of 1st century, some evidences of 3rd century with respect to Buddhism or Jainism. Okay, but we will dive deep into all of this. Okay, but first we need to access how was the society looking during that time. How was the polity being affected due to the degrading economical condition? Okay, now this period would be known for its fragmentation of polity. Okay, or political fragmentation. This period is term for political fragmentation. Secondly, economical degradation, and social divisions. Social divisions, whether these divisions would be from the labor perspective, whether it might be from the religious perspective. Okay, now this is only the period which will be working as evolution for the starting period of the Gupta period. Okay, so here once the political fragmentation takes place, once the economical degradation happens, it's but obvious that the war situation would be getting raised, okay, in different political fragmentation or in the different regions. Now this was also the period when we'll see that once the states are not united, once all the states are fragmented, okay, here it is a good opportunity for an invader to invade the regions of Indian subcontinent. And that is why you will find during this ancient period, or especially during the post-Mauryan period, you will find that many of the invaders came to India, especially with respect to, now let me show you through the map itself. Okay, here is the Magad region, who has Pataliputra as the capital. Pataliputra as the capital of the region. Okay, and suppose, okay, so this was not able to invade due to its geographical location, as we have decided or as we have discussed during the previous session. Okay, now but what happened once all this continent, okay, all this Indian subcontinent, when it is politically fragmented into Magad, into Satavahana, and in the south Chera, Chola or Pandya, right? After that, the Satavahanas. Here it was Satavahanas during that time. Okay. Here it is Kalinga. The same Kalinga which King Ashoka won during the Kalinga war, right? Now after the death of the Ashoka, okay, here the Kalinga territory would be again getting independent. Okay. Once the Brihadratha dies. Now Brihadratha is the successor of Ashoka. Okay, now here once the Brihadratha dies, okay, here we'll find that the political fragmentation takes place. Why? Because the successors were that weaker. Okay, now during this period, what would invaders think? Invaders would think that it is a good opportunity to conquer the Indian subland, and that is why the first were the Bactrian Greeks. Okay, the first were, please try to access the chronology of the invaders. First it would be Bactrian Greeks. Bactrian Greeks, okay, who would come from the northwest. Secondly, after the Bactrian Greeks, okay, after the Bactrian Greeks originated from the Afghanistan land, okay, they established their kingdom in the northwest India, okay, and they would be having some of the cultural and the social ties with the Indian regions as well. So we'll see major of the art and culture of this region would be impacted. The North Indian art and culture would be impacted due to this people. The second were the Sakas, okay, the second were Sakas. After that, the third were Parthians. Third were Parthians. So Sakas and the Parthians would be having the impact majorly on the Rajasthan and the Gujarat region. Okay, so you will find many of the cultures in the Rajasthan and the Gujarat would be differing from the that of North India. Now after that, it was the Kushanas. Okay, after that it was Kushanas who ruled over the northwest India. Okay, so at the northwest India you will find 4 rulings during this post-Mauryan period. Okay, now this is the story of the northwest India, and now this is the story of the remaining Indian subcontinent. Okay, so this is the overview of today's lecture which we are going to have. Okay, now beyond this, the post-Mauryan period, Okay, the post-Mauryan period, because many of the students got or generally get confused. Okay, many of the students get confused that the post-Mauryan chronology is very inaccessible, ma'am. Okay, it happens many a times you don't remember the events, you don't remember the facts, you don't remember the timelines. So for that purpose, I have purposely divided our discussion into three forms for the post-Mauryan period, which is quite typical period to remember. Okay, so here in the first post-Mauryan section, we would be collecting the political story. Okay, after that we would be also addressing the societal status during the post-Mauryan period. After that we are accessing what was the land system during that time, because you see students, many a times or mostly history is being evolved, or when there is any kind of revolution, it is always from the development of any particular land system. Okay, so whenever you see there is a change from ancient India to medieval India, from medieval India to modern India, you will find that there is a specific change in the land system, specific change in the administrative system to monitor the land system. Okay, and after that only the history changes. For example, if you will see modern India, okay, the acquisition of the revenue rights of 24 paranganas, okay, completely sets the different pattern in the modern history. Okay, after the 1757 or after the 1857, as and when the land system gets changed, the complete administration gets changed, complete society gets changed. And as India is a tropical country, geographically India is a tropical country, and if India is a tropical country, major of the resources, major of the revenue would be depending upon the agriculture only. And so here, once the land system changes, it's but obvious that we would be stepping into the new era. Okay, and that is what happened during the post-Mauryan period. Now, when you see the period of Mahajanapadas, okay, the small villages, the formation of Mahajanapadas, the formation of the small villages into the bigger cities. And as I have told you in the previous session, that the Mahajanapadas was the second urbanization phase which Indian subcontinent was experiencing in ancient India. Okay, so here you will take into note that in the post-Mauryan period, all this urbanization would be again coming to the low heights, and during the Gupta period again it would be achieving some new heights with different perspective. Okay, so here try to address after the Indus Valley civilization, again we are degrading, okay, and again we are having the new heights during the Mauryan period, or especially during the Magadha Empire. And after the Magadha Empire, again the economical situation is degraded. Okay, now this degradation would be studied around the post-Mauryan period. Okay, now the societal status, as the societal status changes, okay, we find different of the governance system getting arised. Okay, you will find that once the economical situation gets degraded, or once the economical situation gets weaker and weaker, you will find that during this period, okay, during this period, you will find that the governance system will focus on the common man. Okay, the common man will try to speak for himself through the literature, through the inscription. Up till the Mauryan period, we have seen that the inscription consisted only for the kings and the noble people. Okay, but when you will come in the post-Mauryan period, or especially after the Gupta period, you will see that the people are also narrating about their issues and challenges that they are facing in their livelihoods. And that is why you will find that the growth of agriculture will take place. Okay, the growth of the agricultural policy, in fact not agriculture but the agricultural policies will take place. After that the growth of the economical opportunities will take place, and on contrary or in parallel also you will see the development of casteism during this period only. Now, right from the Vedic age, we have seen that we had followed the Varna system. Okay, the Varna system means a society was divided into 4 Varnas. Okay, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Shudra, and Vaishnavas. Okay, but here after the Mauryan period or during the post-Mauryan period, we'll find that this Varna system is again getting distributed within itself. And here comes the rising of the different religions, different castes. Okay, now different religion we have discussed in previous sessions. Like you'll see that due to the growing of inequality, okay, due to growing of the deviance in the society, you will see that there is an emergence of the new religions like the Buddhism and the Jainism. Similarly, here the casteism would be also getting more rigid after the post-Mauryan or at the later stage of the post-Mauryan age. Okay, so let us start with our today's session, that is the post-Mauryan period, with more detailed analysis. Now, before starting, let us have the significance of this topic with respect to your UPSC examination. See friends, there are n number of questions which are being asked on this post-Mauryan period. Okay, but I am just presenting 1 or 2 questions so that you would get the idea like what you need to focus when we are discussing. Okay, so here the question which was asked in the recent preliminary examination was, with reference to the ancient India, consider the following statement. The concept of the stupa is the Buddhist in origin. Stupa was originally a repository of the relics. Stupa was a votive and the commemorative structure in the Buddhist tradition. So we'll see in the Buddhist lecture what is the stupa actually, but here as we are discussing about the Mauryan period, okay, now this construction of the stupas was done during the Mauryan and the post-Mauryan period only. Now, if you see the third Buddhist council which was held during the Ashokan period, okay, you will find many of the major and the minor rock edicts which we have discussed in the previous sessions. So here you will see that the minor edicts and the major edicts would tell you about what was the situation or why was this stupa being created during that time. Okay, mainly they focused on the rock cut architecture. As we have discussed in the previous session, I have also shown you some of the images, how the single rock was carved into the for the staying of the Jain people and the Buddhist people. Okay, so here while the construction of the stupa was done, it was done on the basis of religious principles. Like when the Buddha took samadhi, okay, the remains of the Buddha or the relics, okay, the ashes of the Buddha, okay, now all those relics were being covered under that stupa. Okay, now it is working similar way in the case if you see in any worshipping temple. If you are worshipping any temple, like there are some of the relics that are being putted beneath the ground. Okay, now the similar thing was being followed by the Buddhist people in this stupa. The remains of the Buddha were kept under the stupa. Okay, so there were different remains which were distributed again. Sanchi stupa is one of the major stupa from all the stupas. Okay, so Sanchi stupa had firstly the main Buddhist relics. After that, these relics were distributed into other major stupas also. Okay, so when you discuss about the stupa, you should know the principle behind the construction of the stupa. After that, the art and architecture details of the stupa. And then only you can answer such questions. Okay, now see the next question which was asked in preliminary examination 2022. According to the Kautilya's Arthashastra, which of the following statements are correct? A person could be slave as a result of his judicial punishment. Right? If a female slave bore her master a son, she was legally free. If a son born to a female slave was fathered by the master, the son was entitled to the legal status of the master's son. Now, I have discussed each of this point in the previous session. Okay, like if you revisit those sessions again, you would be able to answer these questions. So similar way, today also you have to stay very concentrated in this session so that you can answer such minute details. Okay, because each statement here, whatever I speak, is showing some of the facts of that particular period. So please take a note of it. If there are chances, if you can forget all those facts, try to note it while the lecture is going on. Okay.